Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Santa Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and it is a brand new episode of Who's That Cosplayer? And not only is it a brand new episode, but it is the last episode of the year. It has been a fantastic year, and we are here at the end. And I had to bring a cosplayer up here that, usually they cosplay as a hero, but today they wanted to cosplay as a villain, and that is LunarNoir. Lunar, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Hey, I am doing fantastic. And like I said, man, this is the last interview of the year. And after that, everything is going to start over. So thank you very much for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, before we get into today's interview, everybody that's watching, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And as D always says, podcast link down below in the description. Like, follow, subscribe. So let's go ahead and get into today's interview. So Lunar, the first question that I ask each and every guest up here is, what is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one. And since I'm talking to a villain right now, tell everybody who you are.
All right. So, I'm cosplaying Dobby from My Hero Academia. And I guess, origin story. That's a bit of a tough one. I started cosplaying back in 2019. Very, very early 2019. I kind of dipped my toes into it late 2018. I was someone who found cosplay through TikTok, and so I saw like a lot of the kind of fan favorites now, like Bucket Brown, Max Hollow, like cosplayers like that. And my main focus was Miraculous Ladybug, and it was My Hero. And I've never really grown out of the My Hero side of things.
Okay, all right. I mean, you know me, like I'm a huge My Hero Academia cosplayer. I love My Hero Academia, and I love your Deku cosplay. I mean, I know that you've done so many My Hero cosplays, but your Deku and then seeing the Vigilante Deku that you had, and I was hoping that when I started talking about it, that it was going to appear on the screen because sometimes it does. But I gotta ask you, like My Hero Academia, like why do you love it?
Honestly, I personally think it's one of the most varied anime, at least that I've personally seen. Like each character, I feel like that's important to the storyline, they have kind of a progressive backstory, and they have goals and dreams and missions to accomplish. I love how much depth is put into each character, that it never fails to give me something to just kind of think about, just the story behind the world it's set in, the inequalities within the world that we can even relate to our own, of course. It's just, it provides so much to think about that I can't get bored with it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And one of the things that I love about it is how relatable you can relate with all of the characters up there. I feel like there isn't one character that somebody can't relate to. You can relate to everybody, and that's one of the things that I love about it. And now I want to ask you, who's your favorite character on My Hero Academia?
I don't think it would be obvious from my page, but it's Dobby. I personally relate to him the most, and I kind of deep dive into his character a lot, and I love thinking about kind of his storyline as a whole, and just who he is as a character, why he is the way he is, just all of that. It's so real. Like the storyline of Dobby is just, it's such a real and kind of unique thing that I've not seen done before in media, at least not as well as it's done for Dobby.
Yeah, and no spoilers, by the way, because some people don't know what's going on, but we know what's going on.
How do I phrase this without how do I phrase this right?
Oh man. Well, continuing on with Dobby and going back to cosplay, you said that you started back in 2019, and to see like the amazing cosplays that you've done and seeing how far that you've come since you started, did you ever expect to be a guest at a con?
I not realistically. It was always some kind of like unachievable goal that I always kind of looked up to, and I was like, that's when I know I'll have made it. And actually, I have a funny story with that. I was at Holiday Matsuri last year, and I was with one of my friends, and we were walking around and just making small talk. He asked me, he's like, what do you think like your biggest like goal or like achievement in cosplay would be? And I'm like, I almost said winning a competition. I almost said like, building 100% cosplay, like a bunch of different things. But I went for getting my first guesting opportunity. And the funniest thing happened. We went not 30 minutes later, we ended up talking to someone who actually offered me a position at my first guesting gig, not
Nice.
30 minutes after that conversation.
Nice. That's awesome. So like, how was that experience overall? Because like, I've been a guest at a con before too. And just like you, it's something that I never expected would happen. And to be a guest at a con, it's such a fun experience. It's like, it feels like it's a different level of,
It really does.
just being at the con, but like you're a guest. And like, how was that experience for you?
It was very surreal. It felt like stepping behind the curtain in a lot of ways. It was so strange to see the way that things kind of are run behind the scenes. I found it very interesting, and it's something that I've really fallen in love with. It's just like the more professional side of cosplaying, like for cons and just competitions, running them, judging them, being in them, just all of those combined. It's such an experience.
Yes.
Bold City, in I believe it was February of this year. It was my first guesting gig, and it was a 3-day con in Jacksonville, Florida. And I remember waking up that morning, getting completely ready. And I was ready by like 8 a.m. The con didn't open until noon. I'm like, all right.
No, but I mean, I know that feeling.
So excited.
It's kind of like waking up on Christmas Day and being the first person up.
It really is.
Yeah, so it's like I totally understand that. So now I want to go back and ask you a question, from when you first started to where you are right now. And you also had mentioned, and I don't know, do you make your cosplays yourself or do you buy them online or at the stores?
I think it's a pretty even mix.
Okay.
I like to make my own stuff, but obviously it's difficult and expensive, unfortunately.
Yeah.
My Dobby cosplay, I've just recently upgraded it. So like this whole shirt and actually the pants I just finished. They're 100% done by myself. There's other
Nice.
cosplays like my Deku suit is actually, it's a commission that I got from someone. So like it's a pretty even mix of like I'll make some stuff, I'll buy some others. It really depends on the cosplay.
Okay, cool. And I really appreciate you answering that question, because now to answer the big question that I have is like, how do you feel about where you started from and then where you're at right now? Like, how has the experience been when it's come to the cosplays that you've done?
That's a good one. My first 3 cosplays were Cat Noir, Deku, and actually Shoto Todoroki. Those are my first 3, and obviously Deku's grown to be like one of my big ones. But I love all the variations of Deku that I've done over the years. But just like seeing the growth in myself, it's like cosplay is such an expressive hobby. Like there's kind of something in it for everybody, whether you're more towards makeup or costumes, or if it's a fun hobby to just dress up and buy stuff. No matter what you're kind of in it for, there's always something to enjoy about it. And I think that's probably what drew me to it the most. So it's like getting to kind of see my progression through the years, especially using Deku as an example, because that's the one I've done the most of.
Yeah.
Is just seeing over the years how like my skills have changed, and even just personal preferences have changed, like in the way that I style wigs, the way that I do my makeup as well.
Who's that cosplayer?
Hoshihime.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's crazy that you say that about Deku, because it's like I love cosplaying as Deku, but I do not like getting suited up as Deku, because sometimes it can take a very long time, especially if it's really, really hot. Like sometimes it feels like you're frying in the oven inside of that suit. But you know, my Jotaro cosplay, like it's so easy to get into because it's just regular clothes. But I mean, like you were saying about like all of the different variations of Deku that you've done, like all of them are phenomenal. And like my favorite is your Vigilante Deku. That's my favorite one because I like when I first saw that one in the manga, I was like, yo, this is awesome. And it's something that I hope to do one day. But you know, I want to know now, give me your top 3 favorite cosplays that you've done.
Oh, that's a good one. Funeral Dabi takes #1 spot, which spoiler free is one of the biggest challenges I've faced as a cosplayer, is making that and then trying to figure out how am I going to do all of this body paint on a white material. How am I not gonna? Answer is alcohol paints. It's #2 would probably it's close between this version of Dabi and then Vigilante Deku. But this current kind of like the normal outfit for Dabi, I put a lot of time into it, a lot of effort, and it's definitely a fan favorite. It gets a lot of attention at cons. And then like the Vigilante Deku stuff, that would definitely be my #3. Is fun little fact about it, the cape is actually signed by both Justin Briner and Chris Sabat.
Nice, that's awesome.
Signed that last year.
That's awesome. And you know, I always think it's a really cool moment when you go to these cons and you meet voice actors or you meet friends that you haven't met in person and you've only known online. So my next question for you is like, what has been one of your favorite con moments from over the years?
Oof, got a couple. Getting recognized the first time from social media, that was definitely surreal. And that was all the way back in 2019, which I was not expecting to be recognized my first year of cosplay. But I was at Hallmat, and Saturday I was in, looking back, it's such a strange concept, but I was in a version of Todoroki, like very festive. And I was actually in the middle of filming a TikTok, and this group of people, this group, I think there was 3 of them. They came over and they're like, "Excuse me, are you LunarNoir?" And I looked up and I went, "What?" I remember just like the absolute shock of like, "Yes, how do you know that?" And they were so excited to like see me and meet me and like get a picture and stuff. It was so alien because like not even 30 minutes prior, I had met my cosplay idol of Bucket Brown. I got to meet them in 2019, and they were one of the few cosplayers that like completely inspired me to cosplay altogether. So it was really great getting to meet them. Meeting people at cons that recognize me, it's always a good experience. Just like getting to take photos with them, and just chatting and just being like, "Hi, thanks for supporting what I do." You know, it's like I would not do this, I would not be here, I would not have all of this like without the people who support my cosplays. So like I'm always happy to meet someone.
Yeah, I love that. I really do. And it's crazy that you said that you know, you met your cosplay idol who inspired you, because it's like I feel like when it comes to cosplay, like everybody, and that's why I asked the origin story question, because everybody has a different reason or way that they got into cosplay, and like you had somebody who inspired you to, you know, want to become a cosplayer, and I think that that's really awesome. Now, do you have any stories like that where, you know, you've inspired some people to get into cosplay?
I have actually. It was Anime Town in Pensacola, Florida, and this was November of last year. I was cosplaying Nana Shimura, and I was just walking around, and there was a cosplayer doing Misa from Death Note, and they had this incredible scythe, and their wig was awesome, and they recognized me, and they came up and they're like, "Can I get a picture with you, Luna?" And just like we had this really sweet conversation and everything. And like throughout it was a very small con, so like we passed in the hallway a few times after that. And whenever I get one of those interactions, it's really funny. Sometimes I'm more giddy than the person. Especially like on the internet, like, "Oh my god, someone knows who I am." It's so fun when someone like knows. And at the end of the night, right after the cosplay competition, closed out, me and my group that I was with, we were about to leave, and the Misa cosplayer just like looks over at the door, like does a big wave goodbye, and said, I don't remember the exact wording, but they said something along the lines of, "Thank you for inspiring me to do this."
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
I cried in the car afterward because I'm like, oh my god, it was one of
the moment.
It really was. It really was, and it still touches my heart in the most beautiful way.
That's awesome. So, I just mentioned Deku, and I got to ask this question because you love My Hero Academia. What has been one of your favorite moments, spoiler-free, from the series so far?
Next Saturday.
Okay.
Next Saturday.
Uh-huh.
Next Saturday, season 6 episode. I believe it's 10.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I just gave you the eye wink.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that either, man. So, without spoiling it and moving along, when you're not cosplaying, what are some of your hobbies that you enjoy doing?
That's a good one. Most of my time is focused within cosplay, but I do some photography on the side a little bit. Just not professionally or anything. Just oh, that's pretty. Might as well like practice, get those good angles. It's something I like to kind of hone my skills in on. I dabble in drawing and sketching and stuff. It's not something I'm super into, but every now and then I'll pick up a pencil. But most of my free time goes into my Etsy store where I do like more My Hero based stuff.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So we're getting towards the end of the interview, and then I got 2 more questions for you. The first one is, what advice would you give to anybody that would like to get into cosplay?
That's a good one. I'd probably say don't be afraid to make a fool of yourself. Like looking back at some of my stuff, I'm like, ooh. Like seriously, don't be afraid to embarrass yourself. Don't be afraid to have people laugh at you. Don't be afraid to laugh at yourself. That's the biggest thing. And it's like, don't be afraid to make mistakes as well. It's like, unless you know everything immediately, which is pretty impossible, you're gonna make mistakes. Like I've made some pretty terrible ones when it comes to like making stuff, styling wigs, makeup, even. Like, you're always gonna make mistakes. So just if it's something you love, don't let people take the joy out of it. Like if people are gonna find a reason, if people bully you for cosplaying, if someone's going to be a jerk, they're going to be a jerk, whether that's over cosplay, whether that's over how you style your hair, just be unapologetically you.
I love that. And that's why I always love asking that question, because it's like, you never know the answer you're going to get. And I feel like every answer that I get from that question is always pretty solid advice. So thank you so much for answering that question for me. And now we are here at the final question. We've survived the Great Gingerbread War. We survived a year, and now we're about to go into the next year. So the final question I have for you is, what is one goal that you have for yourself next year in the world of cosplay?
That's a good one. I want to win a division in a cosplay comp. I want to win a best in show, or I want to get first place in something.
All right.
I think that's my number one.
Okay. And I love that answer. And I'm one of those type of people that always says that when you speak something into existence, that it comes true, and you just got to speak it into existence. So Lunar, thank you so much for joining me up here on the final episode of Who's That Cosplayer as we go into the next year. And before I let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
Yes, so on TikTok, I am LunarNoir. You can find me on there. I also have a beacon link in my bio that has like all of my social medias. I also have a Instagram, and that is LunarNoir, cause no R.
Okay, awesome. Hey, well, y'all make sure that y'all go and follow him on all of his social media accounts. Show him some love, show him support. And you got support from your hero Santa Banks, because you've been a good kid this year. So you get a pinky for that. And with that being said, y'all know where y'all can find me, your hero Benjamin Banks, at. at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of the year until we go to the next one. I hope that you guys had a good year. Keep that pinky up. Stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.